So let's move on to the champion overview. Alright, so there are currently 9 playable champions in this game of Paladins. They do planning adding on more in the future, but we'll go over the 9 right now. On every page, you'll see here, we're starting off with Barrack. They all have 3 abilities. Now again, they're bound to Q, E, and F, and if you look on here on the prompt, that they go in order. So the Barricade would be bound to Q, Turret would be bound to E, and Rocket Boots would be bound to F. And of course, you have the left shift button bound to mounting. Doesn't show it on these pages, just because it's the same for every character. So let's start with us some Barrack, why don't we? His auto attack is called a rifle, but it doesn't shoot as fast as a rifle you may think. It's a little bit slower, so you may have to lead your opponents depending on distance. So the Q ability Barricade drops a barricade, well, that seems redundant, that provides cover. It's kind of like a hologram. Enemies and allies can walk through it, but it blocks all projectiles. Next, you have the turret, which, as you guessed, drops a turret. So you press the E button. If you hold it down, you'll kind of see an idea. It'll have like a hologram of where you're going to place it. Let go, it places it. It takes a few seconds for it to actually fully start up, but after that, it will auto attack any enemy nearby that is in line of sight. And lastly, we have his F ability, which is Rocket Boots. And just as a heads up, all champions' F abilities will remove all debuffs on use. So Rocket Boots, what do? They make your ass fly. Well, not in the air, but on the ground. You glide, I don't know, like a graceful unicorn prancing through the meadows. It just makes you get out of situations that are hairy. Except for his beard. That shit follows him everywhere. Next we have Cassie, and the bird that follows her everywhere. Now her auto attack is a bow. So just like with Barrack, you'll have to lead your opponents. A lot more actually. She's probably the hardest to just hit in general, right next to Pip. Her Q ability is Blast Shot. Now that pretty much fires a bow like it would with your auto attack, but it's an explosive projectile that knocks enemies back, mainly up from my experience. So you don't have to aim that one as well at the target, you can aim it at their feet. The E ability is Scout, which just sends that damn bird into the sky for 6 seconds, revealing enemies and increasing your damage by 15%. It essentially gives you wall hacks during those 6 seconds. And just as a heads up, when you fire at any time, even if the team doesn't have a Cassie, you will become visible through the wall for a split second. So if you're trying to hide, don't fire. Lastly, we have the F ability, Dodge Roll. Not as cool as Rocket Boots in my opinion, but you quickly roll in the direction you are moving. So even if you're facing forward, if you hold back and you press the F button, you will roll backwards. And of course, like mentioned earlier, and I won't say this every time, removes all debuffs on use. Next we have Fernando. He's actually considered one of the tanks of the cast, I guess. Him and Buck, but this guy is a lot more as a dedicated tank. His auto attack is a flamethrower, which is very short range, so if you want to be hitting someone, get in their face. The Q ability is Fireball. Now this is your long range ability. You press Q for Fireball, shoots out a fireball, pretty slow moving to be honest, and does damage in an AoE. Anything it hits, it's a pretty big fireball as you can see. The E ability will spawn a shield, a pretty freaking big shield in my opinion, that will block 2500 damage. Now Fernando cannot attack while having this shield up, but it's great for blocking capture points, having your teammates stand behind it, block any sort of incoming damage. The last ability, Charge, or bound to F, dashes forward at great speed. Now, I mean, it does it pretty quickly, but the distance it travels is pretty short. Next is Buck, who's the other tank of the champion cast. His auto attack is a shotgun, which requires you to get very close. To be honest, to hit with all of your pellets, you need to be on top of them, which explains why Buck likes to fuck. Now his Q ability is Cataclysm, which deploys a rock wall that blocks movement. This can be used at bottleneck situations. Let's say you're trying to escape after your siege tank has been destroyed and you're trying to destroy their wall. You drop the wall down, let your teammates mount up or escape in any means. Now this wall does have HP and it also blocks projectiles. So if you see an enemy wall come up from Buck, either go around it or attack the crap out of it. His E ability is Recovery. It will heal for 650 health over 4 seconds. So keep in mind, If you're low on health, you wait for the last second, you spam the crap out of E, it's not going to instantly make everything alright. I'd say use it when you're around half health. Yeah. His F ability is Heroic Leap. Buck leaps an incredible height and distance. That's not an understatement. This dude frickin' flies. Now, if you jump before you hit Heroic Leap, you'll also get a little bit more oomph to it, you know? Maybe get up in their face, because that's what Buck does. Make them a disgrace. I don't know where I was going with that, I apologize. But anyway, it's good to get behind enemy lines, and a great retreat tool. Use it wisely. Next, we've got the Green Mean Machine Grok. This guy is the only really considered support character because of his Q ability, but his left click auto attack does a lightning gun or a lightning staff. It's very reminiscent of the lightning gun in Quake, is how I kind of compare it to. Which I'm assuming you gathered because I called it a lightning gun before I even called it the correct lightning staff. Moving on, his Q ability drops a healing totem. Now it drops it at his feet and it heals, a pretty good range. I don't know, you could fit 5 people. Circumference, radius, I don't know, I failed geography, don't yell at me. His E ability is Chain Lightning. Weapon attacks chain to nearby enemies for 35% damage for 5 seconds. So it pretty much makes it so as you press the E button for the next 5 seconds, your auto attack will chain nearby targets. Pretty simple. His F ability is Ghost Walk. You become untargetable and gain 40% movement speed for 2 seconds. You also become a spooky ghost and everyone runs away in fear. No, okay, that doesn't happen. It happens to me, because ghosts are terrifying, but you pretty much become a ghost and you get a little bit of movement speed that allows you to get away. And next, we have the Bitch Witch Eevee, who has a broom that she occasionally flies on. Her auto attack is an ice staff. It fires pretty slow, but it also has slight AoE damage. Her Q ability is Illusion. Creates an illusion that deals 20% of your damage for 6 seconds. I always lose track of the real Eevee, but you'll notice how fast she goes down. If she drops like a sack of rocks, it's a clone. If not, it's the real one, and run for your life. Her E ability, Blink, teleports forward a short distance. Now this is the only change. This removes all debuffs on use. I completely forgot about that, to be honest. So her F ability, Soar, does not remove all debuffs, her E does. But her F ability, Soar, you hop on your staff and take flight. Literally, this is the only character that can really get Y-axis mobility. So when you press F, you soar. If you look straight up, you fly up in the air. Currently, she can get up into areas that aren't allowed. I'm going into a tangent that I feel like Hi-Rez needs to change, but overall, Hi-Rez, good job, man. Feels good. Next, we've got my main man, Pip. He is, yes, my favorite character, because he's very reminiscent of a Demo Man, which was my favorite character in TF2. His auto attack is just like a Demo Man. Yeah, it fires kind of like a, it's called a potion launcher, but it kind of, you gotta lob it, you gotta angle it. Not only do you have to lead an opponent, but you also have to aim up in the air, depending on the distance, how far you are away from him. Angles and stuff, but quit pestering me. I failed geography. His Q ability is Explosive Flask, which pretty much throws a projectile just like you would with your left click, but the explosion is much bigger and it does more damage. I guess here it says throws a fiery flask that explodes for 300 damage, in case you're wondering. His E ability is Adhesive, releases intense adhesive, leaving a 45% movement slow field behind for 5 seconds. This is more of a lob, not really. You can look straight up and try to get the most distance out of it. It's not going to get very far, so just keep that in mind. His F ability is Weightless. This just says it makes you jump higher for 3 seconds, removing all debuffs on use. Right, I said I wasn't going to say that anymore. My bad. But this pretty much gives you sweet looking after effects, like you're going super fast, and when you jump, you jump. So if you're just running on the ground with this active, the Weightless, for 3 seconds, you don't really get anything. But when you jump, you fly. Next we have Ruckus, and I'm not sure if that's the name of the robot or that awkward looking goblin inside of it, but nonetheless, here is Ruckus in all of his glory. His auto attack is a minigun. It's straight a minigun attached to his arm. Hold left click, you fire. Aim at the target, you hit them. Fires very quickly. His Q ability is Dual Fire, which increases your attack speed by 100%. This pretty much mounts up your other arm with another minigun and allows you to attack twice as fast while dual fire is active. His E ability is Emitter. Create an energy shield around yourself, absorbing 600 damage. Just, creates a shield around you. Looks like one of those hologram shields, since everything in here is holograms. His F ability is Hover. You hover for 2.5 seconds. You just literally hover off the ground, maybe 10 feet. I don't know if there's metrics in this game. You just hover slightly off the ground, and it just allows you to escape if you need to. And last but not least, we have the sexy Skye. She's an assassin, kind of plays like a rogue, and wow, because she has stealth. But we'll go over that in a second. Her auto attack is a crossbow, and not what you're thinking, a crossbow kind of like Cassie's bow would be, but it's a mounted crossbow arm attachment thingy. That's the official name, I swear. No, it's not. But it fires very quickly, and you also have to lead your opponents if they're running. Her Q ability is Time Bomb. Places a bomb that deals 500 damage after a short delay. What's a short delay? I don't know. I think it's about like 3 seconds. You'll see a giant red ring pop around the bomb, letting you know where the actual radius is. Her E ability is Poison Bolts. Bolts deal poison damage for 3 seconds. It makes it so for the next 3 seconds, your auto attack also adds additional damage over time. Her F ability is Hidden. Enter stealth for 5 seconds. Pretty simple. You go invisible. While you're going invisible, you can be attacked out of it if someone randomly shoots an explosive or gets a really random lucky shot on you. Side note though, when you are invisible, if an enemy highlights over you unknowingly or knowingly, their crosshair will turn red, knowing there you are. So try to make your movements unpredictable. Go crazy. Dig a hole in the ground. You can't do that. Shoutouts to Dig Dug. Alright, well if you're still here, congratulations for making it through the first half of my Paladins beginner guide. I'd like to thank you, and hopefully I was somewhat informative and made you giggle a few times. Because that's all I want to do. I want to make everyone giggle like a little girl. If you liked my video, feel free to give me the thumbs up, and even subscribe to my channel. I am just starting off, but if you want to see when my new video comes out right away, subscribing will help you with that. Also, it would be awesome. You're awesome. We're all awesome. Woo! So, thanks for watching again, and hopefully I see you around. And hey, if you like me, come check out my stream on twitch.tv/Kamio889. Link in the description. And if you really like me, I'm starting to do a podcast. We've done episode 1. It's called Sunken City Salt. We just talk about the current state of Paladins. It's pretty entertaining. The man IHOLDSHIFT, or Alan, approached me. He is much more awesome than me, so feel free to check him out on Twitch and YouTube. And if you wanted to see our episode 1 podcast, there's a link in the description below. Hopefully I'll see you at the next one, which by the way are on Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't wait for that, always feel free to drop by my stream. I'm streaming anytime I'm on the computer. Schedule will be in the description on the Twitch site. This is Bryce, or better known as Kami, signing out. I don't have a cool outro. I just don't. The end.